Hello, my name is Tim, my company is Sports and Touring, and we are Jaguar F-Type specialists. It's a real pleasure when we find a car like this one to offer. First, it's a 380 horsepower R-Dynamic with all-wheel drive, so one of the sweetest spots in the powertrain options on the F-Type. Second, it's in stunning British racing green, a rare and sought-after colour, not many ordered through the 2010s and very in demand now, so a very fashionable colour and yet a truly classic colour too. Third, it's got fabulous options, including heated steering wheel and heated and cooled seats, and it's sitting on these beautiful 20-inch grey powder-coated and diamond-turned Gyrodyne wheels with perfect Pirelli P0 tyres, and it's got great history too. Let's take a look around. There is the R-Dynamic badge that tells you this is a facelift Jaguar F-Type. But in introducing the R-Dynamic badging, Jaguar also introduced a little bit of confusion because it was no longer easy to see whether there was an S badge and therefore whether the car you were looking at was a 380 or 340 horsepower V6. But look closer at this one and you'll see the widely spaced bonnet vents, which indicate that this is an all-wheel drive car, and therefore it is a 380 horsepower. And you know now that we are dealing with the more powerful of the supercharged V6 engine options connected to this very clever all-wheel drive powertrain and using the very highly regarded 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, all of which, along with the other clever technology in the F-Type, adds up to an incredibly engaging driving experience. And having waxed lyrical about the F-Type in general, then looking at this car, it is very clear it has been a weekend pleasure. I suspect very strongly it has been garaged. There are no signs of this car sitting outside in the weather. It certainly hasn't been through one of those awful mechanical car washes. And the low mileage and service history all add up to a story of a car which has been cherished and looked after and regarded as a special thing to enjoy on a limited number of days each year. The condition is really excellent. Let's take a look inside. The car's supplied, of course, with 2 remote key fobs and the owner's book pack, and pressing the unlock button pops the door handle out and causes the power fold heated mirrors to move out into position, and so we can take a look inside this beautiful cockpit. And starting with the door card, you can see that everything is in very good order. Beautiful jet leather with red contrast stitching. We've got the Meridian sound system, of course, and the full multi-way memory seat option on this particular F-Type. And if we just lift over the window there and take a look at the mirror itself, you can see the little screen there, which is where the blind spot information system presents its information to the driver about traffic coming up behind and to the side, a very important safety feature and another of the many extra cost options on this F-Type. Back round to the cockpit, and the scuff plate is pretty well as it left the factory. And these beautiful seats with their perforated leather are in fine order, no wear on the side bolster as you might expect on a higher mileage car or one that hasn't been appropriately cared for. Everything in the cockpit is in very good order. Let's sit down and take a look around. And the first thing that I always say when entering an F-Type cockpit is that what we're dealing with here is a combination of technology and art. It's brilliantly ergonomic. Everything works as you'd expect it to. There are no confusing moments in an F-Type. It feels good, it looks great, the design really works. One of my favourite features, this beautiful handle which punctuates the driver's area from the passenger's area in the car. Looking around, we have, of course, the facelift seats in this car. Beautiful design they are. We've got a useful little netting stowage there between the headrests. Coming down to the centre console under the armrest, we've got a USB socket, HDMI, SD card and 12-volt socket as well. Forward of that, we've got the cup holder for your refreshments. And to explore further, we'll start up the supercharged V6 using the start button there. As we do that, you'll see the instrument panel do its little flying display as it self-tests. The steering column moves down into the driving position, and then the centre vent rises up out of the dashboard. Back to the console here, and we've got buttons for Eco Start Stop, for putting the spoiler up manually, very important before you wash it. Electronic parking brake with hill start assist. Traction control on off, and there's the button for the switched active sports exhaust, which opens the valves in the exhaust and gives you that throatier sound. The shift stick is one of the real design highlights of the car. Park button on the top, trigger on the front, and you take it from the park position rearwards into drive, and then you can flick it sideways into sport. In sport mode, you can shift up and down using the stick itself. Of course, you've always got the flappy paddles on the steering wheel so that you can change gear without taking your hands off the wheel, maintaining complete control of this powerful and exciting car. And back down here, we'll pop our gearbox back into drive mode and take a look at the driving mode selector, this switch here, which configures the car either for normal driving, as we have at the moment, or with a flick rearwards into dynamic mode. You can see there the instruments light up red and we get a message that says dynamic mode confirmed. That changes the throttle and gearbox mapping and suspension setup for more dynamic driving experience. Back down to the switch, we go through normal and into ice, rain and snow, which really calms the car down effectively. It makes it much easier to drive in snowy or icy conditions. Of course, it's all-wheel drive, so it's not that major a deal to be driving one of these in slippery conditions, but that driving mode really does help to calm things down. Onwards, and we can take a look at the climate control here. We've got dual zone climate, so you and your passenger can dial in the temperatures that you wish. We've got the electrically heated front windscreen, absolutely ideal in the cold British winter when the screen is frosty or misty in the morning. It clears ever so fast. And these seats are heated and cooled, so if we press the button there, twist clockwise for heated and anti-clockwise for cooled, like so. And the cooling function blows chilled air-conditioned air up through the seat onto the driver or passenger, and that really is such a lovely experience when the weather is hot. Onto the infotainment system, and it's very fully featured indeed. We have the selection buttons around the outside, the home screen here. To the left, we've got your configurable home screen, which you add your shortcuts to when you configure the car to your particular selection. Back to the home screen and right again, and we can see the second home screen with access to the cameras, in-control apps, valet mode and so forth. Back to the home screen, and here is our music selection. At the moment we're listening to DAB music from BBC Radio 6. We can go to the radio, FM or AM. We've got a media library built into the car, and if we had a Bluetooth phone connected, there'd be a Bluetooth option there as well to stream music from your phone. Back to the home screen, and the phone option, very fully featured. Nothing connected at the moment, but if it were, we'd have the keypad there. We can make and receive calls on the go very easily, and the call quality in an F-Type is really excellent. Home screen again enables us to go to the climate settings, and here you can direct the airflow as you desire in the car, and go into climate settings as well and synchronize those two temperatures too with the sync button, like so. And the home screen also enables us to go to the navigation screen, where if we signed into an account on the car, it will come up with our own information. As it is, we can simply go in and adjust the map view and then enter a destination and so forth. All very easy to use, very straightforward and very clear display as well. I know it doesn't always show up well on these videos because the contrast between the bright screen and the inside of the car is just a bit too much for the camera to take. Over on the steering column, we've got buttons under the left thumb for the infotainment, including Bluetooth telephony. And here we've got the automatic headlamps on the left-hand stalk. On the right-hand side of the steering column, there's the button for the heated steering wheel. Absolutely brilliant in winter. Get into the car with cold hands and you're very soon starting to warm up. and cruise control and active speed limiter here as well. And then on the right hand stalk there we've got the rain sensitive wipers. And that beautiful instrument binnacle, the big speedometer and rev counter, which present all the information you need so clearly and succinctly, and with that menu driven screen in the centre which takes you through various car configurations and information as well. It's a brilliantly functional cockpit and it looks so good. And just to add again, that this particular car is in such good order, really pretty well throughout. It looks as if it has just left the factory. No wear or marks on the steering wheel, for example. It really is a very fine example indeed. Let's switch the engine off and take a look in the boot. The F-Type boot can be opened either using the button on the key fob, or there's a button just under the Jaguar logo there. And we lift the boot lid up to see really quite a big space. 310 litres in here. Obviously it's a slightly unusual shape, so you need to pack soft-sided bags. It extends all the way out behind the rear wheel arches. So if you've got, for example, golf clubs or fishing rods, they will fit in there quite easily. There's a little cubby hole too under the boot floor there, where you can get some extra things in. And all in all, it is a practical space. It's a large space actually for a two-seat sports coupe. Jaguar have done very well to fit so much luggage space into the F-Type. And I know people who've been touring for considerable lengths of time in their F-Types, gone away for weeks and not had problems with luggage, and indeed fitting in some cheese and wine to bring home for their friends, I'm pleased to say. Closing the boot, and we'll move round to the passenger side of the car. And again, everything here in very fine order. The door card, I dare say, is perfect. The scuff plate, likewise. The dashboard, centre console and seat are all in truly excellent order, with nothing remarkable to see there at all. A real credit to this car's two previous keepers. Under the bonnet, and there is Jaguar's supercharged V6 3-litre power plant, 380 horsepower, driving this car from 0 to 60 in just 4.9 seconds and on to a top speed which is artificially limited at 171 miles per hour. It is a thrilling experience being behind the wheel of an F-Type. Really a car that delivers so much engagement and so much driving pleasure. And as you can see in the engine bay here, everything is exactly as it should be. No signs of anything amiss whatsoever. It's all very crisp and clean. And obviously this is a car which has been carefully and diligently looked after. So thank you very much indeed for watching. It's been a great pleasure to show you this beautiful F-Type. We are Sports and Touring. We're just outside Andover in Hampshire, open 7 days a week by appointment only. You're very welcome to email, telephone or WhatsApp us with any inquiries, or if you'd like to see this car in person or on a video call. We can send you a link to the Google Drive. That's our online folder where we've got higher resolution photos which you can zoom in on, and PDF copies of important documents about the car. If you've got a vehicle to dispose of, we'll give you frank and honest advice about the best way to achieve the maximum value with the minimum inconvenience. And if you need to chat about finance, it'll be a pleasure to do that as well. We're authorised and regulated by the FCA, and we work with a really brilliant broker. Do please take a few moments to read our reviews in Auto Trader. I'm very proud indeed of what our previous customers say about us. And I'll close by saying thank you again. Do please like and subscribe to us here on YouTube if you wish to. And we'll hope to hear from you very soon.